Before you read another word, stop. Right now, just stop. Feel that. That strange weight pressing just below your ribs. That low, almost electrical hum sitting somewhere between your chest and your stomach. You didn't choose to feel it. It arrived on its own. And the strange part is, you have felt it before, not once, not twice, but in those quiet moments when everything else went still and the world pressed pause around you. That sensation has a name. Most people never learn it because most people scroll past it. They tap the next video, they reach for their phone. They fill the space with noise because silence like this particular kind of silence feels like it asks something of them. Something ancient is moving beneath the surface of this moment. Do not look away, not yet. Because what you are feeling right now is not random, and this video reaching you is not an accident. The algorithm did not stumble here. Chance did not build this path. Something far older and far more precise than any system humans have ever designed placed this directly in front of you. At exactly this moment in your life. And if you stay, if you resist the pull to keep scrolling, you will understand by the end of this why that is true. Stay with me. Every second you give this matters more than you know. There are messages that travel through ordinary channels, texts, emails, notifications. And then there are messages that travel through something else entirely, something that bypasses every screen and every algorithm, and lands directly in the part of you that logic cannot reach. This is one of those. It carries no brand sponsor and no affiliate link. What it carries instead is the weight of something that has been pressing toward you for a long time, waiting for the exact moment you would be still enough to receive it. 3 people encountered this same message today. The first glanced at the opening and moved on. The scroll continued. The noise continued. That opportunity closed quietly. The second paused, felt something shift inside, hesitated, and then the habit won. The thumb moved. Now you are here, third position. And something is different about this one. You have been carrying weight that doesn't belong to you alone. You have been fighting battles no one around you can fully see, and the one who has been watching every single moment of that, not from a distance, not with indifference, but with the kind of attention that memorizes every detail, that counts every cost, is speaking now. Not softly, not as a suggestion, as a summons. If something in you just shifted when I said that even slightly, that is your recognition responding. That is the part of you that was made for this conversation finally hearing its name. Don't let that part go quiet again. Not tonight. Let me be clear about who is addressing you right now, because this clarity matters enormously. You were raised, perhaps, with images of someone distant, someone who required perfect language and polished prayers before he would turn and look your direction. Someone you called on mostly when fear made every other option feel too small. That picture has done more damage than you realize, because distance is not his nature. Distance is what happens when religion talks about him without actually knowing him. What I want you to sit with right now is the actual reality. Before your lungs drew their first breath, he already knew the specific weight of everything you had carried. Before your parents gave you a name, he had already spoken yours into the fabric of what was coming. Scripture says it plainly in Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Not knew of you, knew you. With the full knowing of someone who was already present, already invested in what you would become. That kind of knowing does not produce distance. It produces the fire in the burning bush that Moses couldn't walk past without stopping. It produces the voice that calls Samuel 3 times in the night, until the boy finally understands someone is here. Someone is speaking directly to me. It produces the moment on the road to Emmaus, when 2 grieving men feel their hearts burning inside them while a stranger walks alongside them, explaining what they had missed. That burning, that recognition, that is what you are feeling right now, even if you don't have words for it yet. He is not in the earthquake today. He is not in the fire. He is in the still, small voice that exists in the quiet that opens up when you finally stop filling every second with distraction. He is in the pressure behind your ribs that you have been trying to explain away since the first few seconds of this video. He is here right now, more immediately than anything on your screen, and he has been waiting for you to be exactly this still. Think back, not as an act of guilt, as an act of honest witness to your own story. Think back to the promises you made in your quietest moments, private agreements with yourself and with God about who you were going to become, what you were going to stop carrying into another year. Some were made before the house woke up. Some were made in a parking lot, hands gripping the wheel, forehead pressed forward. Some were made beside a hospital bed, or at the bottom of a night so dark you couldn't see the shape of tomorrow. You meant every one of them. Then the morning came, and morning is ordinary, and ordinary is relentless. And gradually, without any single dramatic betrayal, the promises softened and blurred and faded into the background noise of life continuing as it always continues. The mornings you chose the screen before you chose stillness. The prayers that trailed off mid-sentence, because the thought arrived that maybe nothing was listening. The better version of yourself quietly postponed again season after season. 7 years of this, give or take. But here is what he has also seen in those same 7 years. The battles you fought in silence. The things you carried without complaining, because complaining felt like something you couldn't afford. The 3 in the morning hours that no one else was awake for. The quiet wishes you spoke for people around you, while cracks spread across your own sky. He counted all of it, every single piece, not as evidence against you, as evidence of your strength, as testimony that you are still standing, still showing up, still moving, even when moving cost you everything. Scripture says he stores your tears in a bottle. He records them in his book. That is not poetry. That is the description of someone for whom your survival is not invisible. For whom every step you took on a day when taking a step cost you everything is permanently, precisely, faithfully known. You have not been unseen, not for one moment, not for one day. And what comes next in this conversation is the direct result of that. Let me talk about Saul, because Saul is one of the most important stories in Scripture for a person in your exact position. Here was a man chosen before he could make himself worthy of being chosen, anointed while hiding, literally hiding among the baggage when Samuel called for him. And God chose him anyway. Not despite the hiding, but knowing it, seeing it, choosing him through it. Then came the weight of the crown. Then came the voices that grew louder than the one that mattered. Then came the moment Saul decided that near obedience was close enough that keeping most of what God commanded, while quietly adjusting the costly parts, was a reasonable arrangement. Samuel's words to him are among the most devastating in all of Scripture. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen better than the fat of rams. What God wanted from Saul was not impressive performance, not spectacular results, not victory that would make the surrounding nations talk. He wanted a heart that put his voice first, not first when convenient, first full stop. And here is where the story cuts closest to you. You have not failed catastrophically. You have been Saul in the very ordinary, very human sense of letting other voices gradually grow louder than the one you most need to hear. The voice of comfort, the voice of what everyone else around you is choosing. The voice that says you can tend to the deeper things once the urgent things settle, which they never do, because they are designed never to settle while you are waiting. And here is the mercy that breaks through all of that. He is still speaking. You are here. The channel is open. His voice is moving through it right now, carrying more patience and more specific desire for your wholeness than you have ever let yourself fully believe. He has not given up on you. He has been waiting for this conversation. I need to explain something most people never hear clearly, even in environments that talk about faith every week. There is a reason you feel tired in ways that sleep doesn't fix. There is a reason you can laugh in a full room and still feel a quiet ache that has no clear source. There is a reason peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances being favorable, feels like something you can glimpse but never quite hold. There is a reason momentum builds. And then, at the moment of breakthrough, something collapses. The relationship, the deal, the health, the plan. You have been in a war, Paul writes about it directly. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. The word he uses, wrestle, is not casual. It is the word for hand-to-hand combat, the closest possible proximity, the kind of fight that leaves marks. You have marks, and here is what the opposing side knew about you that you may have forgotten. Within the specific combination of your experiences, your wounds, your capacities, and your calling, there is a threat to darkness that is real and worth the effort of suppressing. The resistance you have faced has been proportional to the impact you were designed to have. The exhaustion is not random. The setbacks arriving at the worst possible moments are not coincidental. The single most effective tool of that opposition is not catastrophic disaster. It is the ordinary, the scroll, the noise, the endless, manageable urgency of a normal modern day that consumes every hour and leaves nothing for the things that would actually change everything. Darkness is not afraid of your busyness. It loves your busyness. It is afraid of your stillness. It is afraid of the moment you turn the volume down on everything else and let the voice beneath all of it finally reach you clearly. You are in that moment right now. Don't let the ordinary pull you back. Not yet. Right here, pause just for a second. If what you have heard so far has landed somewhere real inside you, if it has touched something you haven't had words for in a long time, type the word heard in the comments below. Just that one word. Not to perform anything, not for anyone else's benefit. As a small marker between you and this moment, an acknowledgement that something here is true. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. What comes in the next section is where this conversation gets specific about your next steps and about what actually shifts from here. Stay with me. I want to tell you about 3 real people. Each one represents a different version of the crossroads you are standing at right now. The first is Daniel. He lives in Atlanta. 3 months ago, he was 41. Mid-career, mid-marriage, mid-everything. Not failing exactly, but not growing either. He described it the way you might describe your own life. Like driving a highway that is technically taking you somewhere, but you have stopped believing it is the right direction, and you are going too fast to safely turn around. He had been in church since childhood. He knew the vocabulary fluently, but in the quiet of his car, after everyone had gone inside for the night, he felt the gap between the words he knew and the presence he couldn't seem to reach. One evening, he stayed in the parking lot after an event, didn't go in, just sat there, and in the quiet of that car, engine off, no music playing, he did something he hadn't done in years. He stopped talking in the prayer. He went completely quiet and listened. Something happened. He describes it the same way every time. It was like a frequency he had been searching for years, suddenly came through. Not a voice exactly, a knowing, a presence so specific and so familiar with the exact details of his situation, that the only word for it was personal. Not religious, personal. He wept for a long time in that parking lot, and he drove home different, not with his circumstances changed, but with himself changed. His wife noticed within 3 days without him saying a word. Over the following weeks, a conversation opened that had been closed for 2 years. But Daniel says those things feel like footnotes now. The main story is this: I found what I was looking for. It was closer than I thought. I just had to stop talking long enough to hear it. The second is Yemi. She is 34, and she built her life around self-sufficiency in a way that looked like strength and functioned like a wall. She had learned early that depending on people was the most efficient route to disappointment, and she generalized that lesson as we all generalize our early lessons to include God. Not that she would have said it that way. She would have said she believed. But belief and trust are not the same thing. 6 months ago, everything she would carefully constructed came apart in the same 8-week window. Work, relationship, health, all 3 sounding their alarm simultaneously. She said later, I think that was the most scared I had ever been, and the most honest I had ever been. At the same time, because when everything's working, you can give God polite credit and actually trust your own strategy. When everything stops working, you find out what you actually believe. What she found out was this: she had been offered real presence and real help for years, and she had been taking the hand occasionally while keeping her full weight off it. The first time she put her full weight on it, not gracefully, not calmly, sobbing on her bathroom floor at 2 in the morning with nothing left. It held not with a dramatic answer arriving instantly, with a peace that made no logical sense given the circumstances. That peace was the evidence she needed. The third is Marcus, and Marcus is the hardest to tell, because Marcus came closest to the edge that doesn't have a return. He was 27, and he had arrived at the point where he had done the math on his life and concluded that the numbers didn't support him continuing. He had a night planned, and in the middle of that night, while everything was decided, something interrupted him. A warmth that moved through his chest like light through glass. With it came a knowing, not a thought. Something below thought that he was not alone, had never been alone, that the isolation he had been living inside was a lie constructed so carefully and for so long that he had stopped being able to see its edges. He reached out that night, and then the next day. Marcus is not a simple miracle story. Recovery from where he had arrived was long and non-linear and required real human help alongside the spiritual. He is the first to say that, and I want to be the second. If you are in the place Marcus was, please reach out to someone who can be physically present with you. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. But Marcus is also the first to say, what interrupted me that night was real, and it changed the entire direction of my life. He has since sat with 16 other people at similar edges, whispering the same thing. You are not alone. I know because I was told the same. And whoever told me was right. 3 people, 3 different starting points, 3 different ways of being closed. And in each case, the same presence breaking through in the way most specific to that person, at the moment when the opening was finally there. Your opening is now. Let me speak directly to what is happening inside you right now. Because there are things in your chest that you haven't spoken out loud possibly to anyone. There is a version of your future that you are afraid to want too much. Because you have wanted things before and been disappointed. And that pattern has trained you toward a kind of preemptive grief. Not fully investing in the hope. Because the protection of not fully investing feels safer than the exposure of actually believing something good could happen. That is not faithlessness. That is what injury produces. He knows exactly when that architecture was built. He knows which specific moment taught you to hedge your hoping. He was present for it. There is also something you carry that you have not been able to name. A sense of purpose, deferred again and again. A feeling that you were made for something specific you haven't arrived at yet. A gap between who you are and who you were designed to be, one that feels real and closable. But the directions aren't clear. That feeling is not delusion. It is not ego. It is accurate information from the deepest part of your design, telling you that the purpose is real and the path to it is not closed. Even now, even after everything that has happened to delay it, and there is something else. A relationship, or the absence of one. A financial pressure that has carried more shame than anyone knows. A pattern you have tried to break so many times that trying has started to feel like performance rather than actual hope. He knows which one just landed in your chest when I listed those. And his knowledge is not passive. It is not the knowledge of an observer who watches without moving. It is the knowledge of someone who has already acted on your behalf, in ways you will not fully recognize until you look back from a further point and see the path that was being cleared while you were convinced nothing was happening. Every closed door that protected you from something worse, every delay that positioned you for something you couldn't yet see. He has been active continuously in the hidden places of your story. What he is asking now is this: let me be as active in the open as I have been in the hidden. Stop treating me as the last resort when every visible option fails. Give me the first place, the first hour, the first thought. Not because he needs it, but because you do. Because the version of you that lives from that posture is the version that carries everything you are carrying and still walks in peace. That version is not fiction. It is your actual inheritance. You just haven't claimed it yet. I want to speak to the next 72 hours, not to construct false urgency, but because there is something real happening in the spiritual season of your life right now. And the next 3 days carry specific weight. Within the next 8 to 12 hours, something is going to reach you from an unexpected direction. It may be a person, a conversation, a moment of clarity arriving without warning, an encounter too specific to dismiss as coincidence. It will touch the thing you have been most afraid to hope for in this season. When it arrives, don't explain it away. Don't minimize it back into the noise. Let it be what it is. Tomorrow will bring a narrowing, a place where you must choose between the familiar path and the one that costs more but leads further. The familiar path will argue for itself convincingly reasonable logic, manageable risk, the comfort of not having to change anything yet. The other path will offer none of those reassurances. It will only offer the thing you actually need: movement toward the life that was prepared for you. Choose that path, even if you cannot see where it ends from where you are standing. On the third day, something in your body will know before your mind catches up. A softening, a warmth moving through your chest unexpectedly, thoughts that had been tangled suddenly aligning into something approaching clarity. When that happens, you don't need to construct elaborate experience around it. You only need to say quietly to yourself and to him, "I feel you. I am listening." That is enough. That acknowledgement is the beginning of everything, and here is the honest theology behind all of this. It requires your willingness, not your perfection, not your readiness, not your arrival at some minimum standard of spiritual condition. Just your willingness to be present to this, the same willingness you have been giving it right now. Free will is real. The door is open, but you are the one who walks through it. He will not force the threshold. He waits at it, and his waiting is infinite, patient, and completely without the tired disappointment that human waiting eventually produces. But the movement is yours to make. Make it. I am going to give you 4 specific things to do. Not because they are magic steps that produce automatic results, they are not. But because the movement from receiving something in silence to actually living differently requires concrete action. And these 4 things correspond directly to what this moment is asking of you. The first is early morning stillness. Tomorrow, before you check anything, before the phone, before the news, before anyone else's voice fills the room, give 7 uninterrupted minutes to quiet. Not with a list of requests, with open hands. Say something simple and honest. I am here. I am listening. I am willing to hear whatever you want to say. Then be genuinely, receptively quiet. What arrives may feel subtle at first, persist anyway. You are creating the habit of turning the volume down on everything else, and turning up the frequency that matters most. That habit built over days changes everything from the inside out. The second is honest accounting. Sometime today or tomorrow, write privately, not for anyone else to read, about the gap between where you are and where you sense you are meant to be. Not as self-condemnation, as honest witness. Name what has occupied the space that was meant for something more. Name the fears underneath the patterns. Name what you actually want. Things lose their power when they are seen clearly. The gap between your actual life and your designed life cannot be closed without first being honestly named. The third is a reach toward one person today. Not with a rehearsed speech, with something simple. A message to someone who has been on your mind lately, and you know who it is, the face or name that appeared when I said that. Just this: I have been thinking of you. Hope you are doing well. That is all. You don't need to explain why. Because part of the design of your life is who you are to the people around you, and part of stepping into that design is not waiting for the perfect moment to show up for them. The imperfect moment is now. The fourth is removal. Identify 2 things in your daily digital life that consistently produce a net negative: more anxiety, more comparison, more numbness. Remove them for 7 days. Not because all technology is harmful, but because your soul is a system that has been running on inputs that fog it rather than sharpen it. Notice what the cleared space makes room for. These 4 things, that is all. Not a program. Not a performance level you cannot sustain. Just these 4 things beginning today. There is one more thing you need to understand before this ends. There are people who have prayed for you, some still here, some already gone. And I want you to grasp something about the nature of that kind of prayer. It does not expire. It does not dissolve when the person who spoke it moves on or passes on. It stands in the unseen realm like a seed in the ground, waiting for the conditions that bring it to growth. Your mother or your grandmother, or the person who loved you before you were old enough to understand what love costs, they prayed over your life with a specificity and intensity you do not have full access to. They named things over you that they couldn't fully see, but somehow knew mattered. They stood in the gap during seasons when you were too young, or too lost, or too certain you didn't need anyone standing anywhere for you. Those prayers are not memories. They are active. They are part of the architecture of this moment. They are part of why, of all the content available to you tonight, you ended up here exactly still enough to hear. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from the accumulated weight of every prayer ever spoken over your name by someone who loved you without condition. That is your inheritance before you have done a single additional thing to deserve it. And somewhere right now, someone is in the dark wondering if they have been forgotten. Whether the silence they have been living in means no one is coming, nothing is moving, They were wrong about ever mattering. Your choice to respond to this moment, your life becoming evidence that God moves and speaks, and shows up is the answer to a question that person is asking in the dark tonight. You are not only doing this for yourself, you are doing this for the child watching how you move through hard things, for the friend who is one conversation away from coming back to something they abandoned years ago, for the person you haven't met yet, whose trajectory bends when they encounter who you become when you are finally, fully, courageously yourself. The ripple of one person saying yes to this is not small. It never has been. We are nearly at the end of this conversation, and I want to honor what you have given it. Your attention, your stillness, your willingness to stay when every habit of your daily life pulls toward noise and movement. That was not nothing. That cost you something, and what it bought is real. Let me close with this. There is a pattern in Scripture that I find remarkable. Again and again, the moment of true encounter happens not on the mountain, not in the temple, not during the organized sacred event, but in the in-between. Moses on the backside of the desert, far from anything impressive, when the bush catches fire. Jacob alone by the river in the dark, wrestling with something he doesn't understand until morning. The woman at the well in the middle of an ordinary day, not during worship, just drawing water when the most extraordinary conversation of her life begins. In between moments, ordinary moments, moments that don't look like the right setting for something significant to happen. This moment, right here, is one of those. The bush is burning. The wrestling has already started. The conversation at the well is already underway. All that remains is whether you will stop long enough to recognize what you are standing in. You have already stopped. You have already recognized it, at least partially. And that partial recognition is enough to begin with. Begin before you leave. Do 3 things. Type open in the comments below, not as a superstition, but as a declaration that you are choosing to be open to what this moment is offering. Subscribe if you haven't, because what comes after this moment deserves to be accompanied. And there is more here that belongs to your journey. And share this with one person, the face or the name that has appeared in your mind at least twice while watching. They don't need context. They don't need your explanation. They just need to encounter this conversation the same way you have. The choice is made not once, but daily. In the morning, when the alarm goes off and everything in you wants to reach for the familiar comfort of the screen before anything else. In the moment when the old pattern presents itself as the easiest exit. In the quiet of the evening, when you could fill the space, or finally let it sit empty enough to hold something real. Choose daily. Choose first. Choose what was chosen for you before you had a voice to choose with. Almost is the most expensive word in anyone's life. This is the moment after almost. You are ready. Even the parts of you that don't feel ready are ready. Walk through.